Okay, so thank you for coming out. I am going to get us started because time is always short at these meetings. There's always a lot to go through. There's always a lot that people want to say. And the library closes at 8, and they will turn the lights off and kick us out if we linger too long. So we're gonna get moving. My name is Ernest. I am the president of this here Patterson Park Neighborhood Association. And with me here, oh, actually, I'm just gonna go through it like this. So hello. Okay, there we go. So these are the boundaries of our neighborhood. And as you can see, it is divided into several sectors. Now, there are representatives for each sector, and you see their names up there right now. And many of them, most of them, in fact, are in here in the room with us. So, for example, we have Lindsay Johnson-Graham, who is the VP representing the Patterson Place sector. In the West sector, we have Colin Murphy. And in the East sector, we have Cheryl Bryant, who's actually not here right at the moment. But why are you pointing?
I was waving.
Oh, okay. I was like, is Cheryl over there? And she's okay.
We were waving.
Okay. And then in our South sector is Kelly Poole. The North sector is currently vacant. We are looking for anybody who lives in that area who wants to get involved. We encourage you to run to join the board. And then you can see there's my name. I'm the president. Our secretary is Elena over there, who is also monitoring the chat on Zoom. So she will let me know if there are any questions coming through there. And she will also keep me on track and on time. We currently do not have a treasurer. The previous treasurer did not run for re-election. Sorry. Yeah, no, it's a lot. She's been a treasurer. She's been a treasurer for a long time, and for various reasons that are really just personal to her, she couldn't continue. So we are looking for a new treasurer, and if anybody would be interested in doing that with us, we would greatly appreciate it. Just come and talk to us. All right, now we'll just go ahead and get into our guest speaker. Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't have much of an introduction here, but our guest speaker today is the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, also called MONSE. And please come on and introduce yourself. And I'm going to give you 20 minutes, and we can also have some question and answer afterwards. Okay.
I try to be as brief as I can with the introductions, just so we can have enough time. Right, 2 minutes. But if you all can, if they're on enough.
Oh, sorry. One more very important thing. We have pie. And I think Elena wants to make sure it disappears.
Yeah, please have some.
Yeah, don't make her take it back.
Ominous, Elena.
Nothing. She doesn't want to eat the rest of it.
All right, well, welcome, and there are people online as well, so you just make sure you speak towards the microphone.
Okay, should I see?
Yeah,
What do you think?
it's pretty sensitive, so
I'm
they'll
good.
let us know if they can't hear you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Mason. I am the Associate Director for Victim Services at the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. I am actually joined by 2 of my staff, Ms. Lenise Baylor and Ms. Ashley Rivera. I think they raised their hand at different times, but that's Ashley and that's Lenise. And we have our junior staff here. You want to introduce yourself? Our junior staff journey. So I came to actually do a presentation on MONSE, what MONSE is. You all can actually follow through with me. I didn't know that you all had a setup. Or I would have brought my laptop, but I hope the slides will kind of suffice right now. But just kind of going through the slides. Our program is kind of set to provide services to anyone that's been a victim of a crime. Previously, it was kind of catered towards young adults that have been victims of crime, whether they be primary or secondary. But since moving over and transitioning over to the mayor's office, we have been tasked to serve the entire city. Those crimes range anywhere from bullying all the way to first and second degree assault. We service, like I said before, primary and secondary victims. So we service individuals who have been directly affected by crime, by violence, in addition to their families. So just kind of talking about the first slide, the different components that fall under victim services. We have the visitation center, and I'll kind of speak on that on the next page or slide. We have our intimate partner violence and domestic violence lane. We have our gun violence and school-based violence lane. We have our intensive and non-intensive case management lane. We have our human trafficking and sexual assault lane. And we have our lane that kind of talks about high risk for victimization. We kind of identified that as non-intensive case management, but I'll kind of get a little more in depth to what those kind of mean as I get to those slides. First slide or the next slide talks about the visitation center. And this is kind of set up to provide visitation options to anyone who has been involved in some type of domestic dispute. So there are situations set up where the custodial parent and the non-custodial parent can actually have time to visit or spend time with their children. There are a number of different circumstances that kind of in line with some domestic issues, but the courts try to find a way to be as, I guess, open-minded as possible. Whereas, you know, both parents, regardless of who is the offender or not, actually will have access to their child, being able to visit them for a period of time wherever the court deems appropriate. I will turn over to our next slide. We talk about anti-human trafficking and sexual assault. We have a very significant lane, a very significant impact, should I say, in the human trafficking field. My staff, Tom Stack, is a seasoned veteran when it comes to human trafficking prevention, as well as sexual assault. He actually works primarily with the Human Trafficking Collaborative with different entities in Baltimore City Police Department, other city agencies, state's attorney's office, and trying to work on policy and different mandates around sexual assault and human trafficking. He also works with some of our partners in the community that service human trafficking victims. You have Blue Dot at Mercy Medical Center that actually gets intakes from individuals who have been affected by human trafficking through fire department, paramedics, police department, or even just walk-ins from the emergency room. So any of those individuals can be serviced at Blue Dot and Mercy Hospital, as well as some of our other partners. We have Turnaround. Turnaround is an agency that caters specifically to individuals who have been impacted by human trafficking. And like I said, Tom actually works closely with them to make sure that the individuals affected are properly serviced. Our sexual assault response team, we talked about that. Yes, I talked about that. Our intensive case management, I'm looking for my slide, please forgive me. You all may have a slide around intimate partner violence and domestic violence. I don't actually see them, but I'll speak on it briefly. Our intimate partner violence and domestic violence lane actually focus mainly on again, overseeing some of our partner agencies that service individuals that have been affected by domestic violence and intimate partner violence. A lot of those are, for example, House of Ruth, that actually has a number of different services to serve individuals that have been affected. Our lane actually oversees, I wouldn't say contractually, but they kind of oversee the service and the service provision for some of those agencies that we work with around sexual assault and domestic violence. Real quick, I want to jump into our intensive case management and our non-intensive case management model. I talked about it before. We just recently transferred over to MONSE about a year and a half ago, approximately, where we have been implementing a intensive case model, intensive case management model throughout the city. What that actually looks like is being able to provide intensive services and continued services for individuals who are referred over to us. We take a number of different referrals from different agencies: Baltimore Police Department, State's Attorney's Office, City Schools, Department of Juvenile Services, help me out, Lenise, Department of Juvenile Services, partner agencies, you have ROAR, you have ROCA. Anyone that actually has been, has engaged an individual who has been affected by violence, as well as self-referrals. We take all referrals and try to find a way to service them to the best of our ability in order to bring a level of stability. Some of those services kind of look like rental assistance and relocation assistance. We're working in accordance with the State's Attorney's Office and BPD to provide, I guess, a collaboration of funding when it comes to having to relocate someone after they have been affected by violence. We also provide rental assistance in the form of possibly paying someone's back rent. Just giving an example, you have an individual who has lost someone to gun violence, and a lot of families don't have the benefit of having life insurance, and sometimes they have to use all the funds that they actually have to pay funeral expenses. So we kind of step in and provide a subsidy to individuals in those situations. So sometimes we could pay 2 or 3 months rent for them to actually be able to restabilize and get back on their feet. There are times where family members struggle with utilities, possibly facing eviction. And all these things are kind of I guess they're effects of trauma, more or less, by these families being traumatized by real life situations where some of these things kind of fall through the cracks. Some family may wind up falling behind in rent because a mother may have lost her job because she just can't focus after losing one of her children. So just all those instances where we kind of focus and think outside the box of ways we can help support families and family members that have been affected by violence. Our intensive case management kind of looks like, I believe the first 3 months being an intensive case management, or an intensive sort of case management where the intensity level is high. My advocates reach out to those individuals probably weekly to kind of discuss some of the ways that the individuals referred to us need to be serviced, whether that is helping them find affordable housing or housing in their price range, helping them find employment, getting them connected to mental health services, helping them, and I think sometimes this is the most important, making sure that the young people and the children that have in the household that have been affected, that the schools are brought up to speed with what actually happened in their home, because we don't want the children going to school and being, their situation or their demeanor being misconstrued for, them just being, just being difficult. I'm not gonna say bad, but being difficult and, bringing awareness to the principal, maybe the social worker, most of their primary teachers, not really sharing too much information because we don't want them to be embarrassed, but just enough information for the school to know that they should be handled with care. So that's something that I kind of promote just as strongly as I do all of the really substantial services that we offer, because we always have to keep the children in mind of how to help them rebuild from that trauma that they have actually experienced. So we moved from an intensive case management type of intensity to maybe moderate, where those families are called maybe every other week. And hopefully, within those first 3 months, the intent is to be able to make sure that they reach a label of a certain level of stability, whereas most of their major needs are taken care of in the beginning. So we just move through different stages until we get them to a point where they feel comfortable enough to be discharged. But that discharge doesn't look like us releasing them and just discharging them from our program. We work to get them connected to a partner agency that either does PRP services, mental health services, even case management. We work closely with our partners to make sure that we are doing a warm handoff to ensure that, they don't feel like they've been, just let go. And we just continue to have a cooperative session between those individuals to make sure that if anything else arises, that, we are there to still support. Some of the services that we provide through our intensive case management model, I said transitional housing, financial literacy, information about the criminal justice system, safe at home program. I don't think a lot of people are familiar with that program. It actually is a program that is through the state that will completely wipe an individual's address and information off of all data systems. So you have situations where we might have a domestic violence or intimate partner violence referral come in, and we have to actually service them. And there is a possible threat where someone may actually be, trying to, get to them. The Maryland Safe at Home actually wipes all of their information off of all data systems. So even if they go to court for, maybe protective order or something, or peace order or something of that nature, the court won't have access to their location. Their location actually is identified by them having a PO box. So it actually, makes sure and ensures that the individual safety is always, hope that's not mine. The individual safety is always thought about and kept in mind. Individual counseling, emergency financial assistance, we pay for a number of different funerals. We're trying to kind of, I guess, be as fair and equitable as we possibly can. We're providing some of these funds, but sometimes families come to us for, minimum amounts that they actually need support for funerals, and some of them come to us for major amounts. So we kind of are trying to work out how we can actually be as equitable as possible, but everyone's situation is different, and we know that, and we understand that. Mental health therapy, I talked about that. We do non-traditional therapy, employment assistance, driving school. We provided driving school vouchers to not only our peer groups in some of the schools that we work in as an incentive, but we also, when you have situations where individuals may need an ID, this is a way to actually help them go through driving school, go and get their permit, and then move on to get their driver's license to continue to support them, and hopefully, like I said, reach a level of stabilization. Our non-intensive case management, which is what, Ms. Lanice actually manages. And she actually oversees, all of our, let me get it straight, because she wanted to make sure that we got the term correct, high risk for victimization. What that kind of looks like is that, we get a number of, constituent referrals, through individuals calling City Hall that actually need services. But those individuals may not have been directly affected, by violence. But, you know, we try to be strategic about making sure that anyone that we get, referred over to us, that we find a way to, manage support and services for them. We are funded through the governor's office for our victim services funds. So sometimes there are limits to what we are able to provide to someone who is not a victim of crime. But the case management and getting them connected to the services that are appropriate to them and that they actually need is Ms. Lanice's job. So maybe if you have a individual that was affected by being displaced in a fire, that, you know, that doesn't really classify them as being a victim of violence. However, Ms. Lanice's role is to make sure that we get them connected to some type of agency or organization that is responsible for supporting individuals in that are in those situations. So we try not, I know sometimes it's overwhelming. We don't have a large capacity when it comes to case management, but we try not to turn any individual away. We try our best to kind of meet as many needs as we possibly can. Just talking about impacts and outcomes around case management. We have assisted just this year, I guess, since August 2022, we have assisted 281 individuals with barrier removal. And we have provided services for 375 individuals who have been victims of crime. Like I said, those range anywhere from gun violence, bullying, sexual assault, elder abuse, hate crime, anything that you can kind of, and especially survivable homicide victims, regrettably. Any crime that any family member comes to us about, we try to find a way to step in and provide a service for it. I can briefly, I don't know how much time I have. I know where am I?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. We do have our associate director here. Ms. Crystal, if you want to wave. She is actually associate director for our gun violence prevention lane. Her role is to kind of oversee many of different agencies that provide gun violence prevention services across the city. I'm sorry I talked so long. I didn't give her a chance to kind of share. But we are trying to work ways inside of the agency to kind of be strategic and collaborate amongst the different lanes. We have a community engagement and outreach lane. We have a our victim services lane. We have a finance lane, and we also have a comms lane and data lane. Each of them play a major role, and if you turn to the next page, I guess it'll kind of, you know, bring everything full scope around what I mean about how our collaboration between the lanes played a role. We were requested by the mayor to take over the Brooklyn stabilization that took place July 2nd, 2023, where there was a mass shooting in the community. And we had to actually step in and provide stabilization to that entire community. Our process has always been that we provide a 45-day response where we step in and we're in the community directly for 45 days. However, because of the nature of the, incident, and I guess our commitment to those victims and those individuals impacted or affected, we're still in Brooklyn now at this time. Just providing, continued services. We work directly with, some of the stakeholders in the community, faith-based individuals, other community-based organizations in the Brooklyn area. We meet every other week to kind of talk about what we can do to continue to support the Brooklyn community every month. So we've done a number of different events in the community. We've done events to support the elderly and older adults. We've done events to support the young people, as well as have a conversation. Just having the young people lead a conversation about violence in the community. We have helped anyone that's been a victim of a crime. We've done a number of different resource fairs. We have just continued to provide services in that community as best we can. So I'll try to cut it there because I'm pretty sure you all have questions. So I'll stop and open up the floor. Yes.
I just want to know like what languages services are provided in.
So we do work closely with MEMA, who is also through the mayor's office, where we actually collaborate with them to do services in Latinx communities. We're actually going to do a resource fair in, I believe, April. That is going to be specific to the Latinx population. We're going to make sure that that is our premier focus, to make sure that they are getting the same supports that everyone else gets. Any other questions?
Are there like interpreters available for
Yes.
other languages?
Yes, they are. Now, no, for the Latin population, I'm not sure for other interpreters. I think that's
Okay,
something
so
that
for,
we,
yeah, like other languages are not available.
I'm not sure. I think that's something that,
Yes, we work with them directly, or, I'm sorry to.
no, please do.
So, I work with a language house, so there are times where there is people who are not able to read, even if they do speak English, they're not able to read, so there's, times that we can to check in with the language. I've only ever had to use Spanish,
Okay,
but the Visitation Center, which is one of our programs, they see more of this.
okay, thank you.
Yes.
Hey, I'm Arch McCowan. Good to see you. I think we exchanged email.
Yeah, we.
Thank you for your service. Appreciate you guys, what you guys do.
Appreciate it.
By way of introduction, so I've been the safety chair for PPNA, on and off, mostly on since 2007. Just to give you like an idea of violent crime that happens in our neighborhood, because I think you're talking more like generally about Baltimore. So I was looking at open data Baltimore this year, 2023. We had 34 ag assaults, which is 12% increase. We had 48 robberies, which is a 50% increase over last year. We had 156 cars stolen, which is more of a 400% increase. Just next door in Highlandtown, ag assaults went up 82% to 31, and robberies were 26 reported, which is a 53% increase. And each of these obviously are people that are getting hurt. I've been in this role for probably 15 years, and honestly, I've never seen y'all reach out to me. I've never seen y'all reach out to any of my neighbors. I've sat on stoops with a neighbor bleeding, from getting their ass beat by somebody over a fucking phone and a wallet. And you guys, like, you're up here talking about that, and you talk about equity, but I represent these folks. These are my neighbors, and they come in white, black, Asian, Latino, all gay, straight, trans, everything. I represent all these people, and I don't see y'all. So I want, where the fuck you guys been?
I mean, I think what I can say in retrospect to MONSE, right? Can I speak from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, where our engagement has been consistent since, I believe, August 2022. And I think going through that transition and transitioning a program that actually services close to 200 or 300 people. I think, and I can't speak on some of those individuals that have fallen through the cracks, right? We've had a conversation with my good friend now, that we talked about, right? And trying to find a way to say, you know, we may not have been where you all need us to be in the past, but the whole intent for us coming in and making ourselves present in these rooms and actually presenting, listening tours and listening conversations to community is to step in and say, we're here now, right? I can't speak on what has happened in the past because again, I don't think that's my role, right? My role is to kind of step in and see how I can make my team and I can possibly make an impact moving forward. The intent of, I guess, stepping into different communities, meeting with as many community-based organizations as we possibly can in different quadrants of the city, is to make sure that everybody knows that these services are available. We want to be able to, the plan is for us to actually visit each quadrant of the city, connect with as many community-based organizations, come to as many or present at as many community events, community conversations as we possibly can to let people know what services are available and actually have a real conversation about how we as city government can step in and provide some of those services. We're here. We're here. I can't, I regret to say.
How do we plug in?
So that's why I'm here now. We do have on the last page, and I hope everyone actually has this. We have a email. MONSE Victim Services email.
Excuse me, and if you could send that to me, I'll make sure all of this gets sent out
I'll
to
make
everybody on there.
I'll make sure I will. I'll also send around my card where everybody can actually take a picture and you'll have access to my phone number, my email address directly. But you know, like I said, I think the intent is for us to be as engaged as we possibly can and hear from you all directly about how we can step in and provide some type of service around some change in some of those things. We don't want these victimizations or these things to actually happen in any community, right? So I'm not saying that, you know, this community should be left out because, you know, our main focus has been in Brooklyn or West Baltimore. We want to be universal around the city, which is why our numbers are as high as they are. Like just this year, we have seen close to 200 victims of crime. So that kind of shows that, you know, we aren't being selective about who we actually get referrals from or get contacted through. If somebody reaches out, we're going to do our best to try to service them. So I'm going to make sure that my card comes around and you all can take a picture of it directly. And I mean, you know, I've had conversations. I'm pretty sure you've been kind of in the week. But again, they've been real conversations about, you know, being empathetic and understand the impact that violence can have on an individual. And I want to actually be a voice for him as well, because, you know, he's not here, but, you know, just the seriousness around not just somebody thinking that, you know, something that might be minor with an issue of keeping your dog on a leash, right? In Patterson Park, where it should actually be looked at as being a health risk, right? Because if that dog gets loose, if a conflict comes about because of the dog being off the leash, if the dog gets loose and is actually bites somebody or knocks somebody down and they may have a health problem or something like that, it will affect them greater. So we should just look at this not just as somebody wanting, you know, being, I guess, particular about wanting to see somebody's dog on a leash. It should be understanding the impact of that dog not being on a leash, even if it may cause fear or anxiety into someone. So the intent is to be able to come into these rooms and have these conversations to say, are there ways that we can kind of step in and, you know, maybe play a role in getting possibly some services brought in, right, that haven't been brought in before. To be able to bring some people to the table that can have conversations about, you know, for example, the dog situation, right? Being able to extend the fence, to make the fence larger, so that there's no excuse why a individual should be walking along the trail without their dog being there. I even brought up with, my good friend, that possibly, having the park rangers be on bikes. So instead of them being in their cars, we could possibly look to see, well, let's see if we can get bikes donated, right? And they actually ride the bikes through the park, whereas though they are more engaged, and to be able to see people that are walking and not having their dogs on the leash. So those are some examples that, you know, we try to set as the mayor's office of neighborhood safety and engagement, to be able to say, hey, look, we don't have all the answers, right? And we can't do it alone, but we want to be able to come into the community and work collectively and beside you all to kind of provide those resources and some type of help, some type of assistance. And I apologize for, you know, what has happened in the past and, you know, not being there. And there's many people in your community that has been affected, but, you know, I'm just hoping that we can actually, you know, make a change.
And I apologize for going hard on you all,
No,
but
I get it.
I'm really and.
I get it
And
frequently.
like, I, in the past, I've reached out to MONSE on behalf of neighbors who've been attacked out here and.
Directly to us?
Yeah, MONSE, yeah,
Okay.
and like, no callbacks, no, it's just out there, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll just move on, we'll go another route.
Well, let's see what happens now. Let's see if we can actually change that, right? And, you know, I'm up for having frequent conversations. You've seen how many,
I appreciate it.
emails that I've had with my good friend. I'm gonna get her real quick and then we can come to, yes.
I'm curious, how do you work with the council's offices? So the council for the first district or the 13th district, do you work with the council?
Yes, we get requests directly from them, for assistance. So when somebody reaches out directly to the council and they have a particular need, and that individual has a particular need, normally the council either sends us an email or, you know, now it's been because, our group has been so great at being responsive lately, forgive me, that we have been, you know, pretty good at responding and just trying to find a way to intervene where needed. If the council actually reaches out and, you know, sends an email, we just reach out directly to that individual and see how we can help them play a role. Yes.
When you said you said you served, was it 200 people this year
Yeah.
in 2024?
Yes. No. In between, yes, since, let's say January 2023 till now. Yes,
200 people.
Yeah.
In over a year.
yes.
I would like to share something that was missed out of your packet here was some of the work that we do directly in the community. And this is new. I've only been with the agency for about a year and a half. So I can only speak for the time that I've been there. And that's about longer than MONSE's, half of the time MONSE's been an organization. It's a very young org. And we've grown exponentially. But some of the things that we also do outside of this work, I do community engagement workshops. We do trainings. Specifically, I like to focus, not like to, but I've been called to focus on our youth, our teens, faith-based communities, and school-age-based kids. We also have someone in our agency that is focused with the LGBTQ community. So if you see things, reach out. There is that last page, and that's only one email. Our agency now has 40 people, and we focus on a few different areas. And our goal is to co-collaborate. We want to reach out to organizations like Patterson Park. We want to be in the small mom and pop grassroots orgs, because those are the people that hear the most impactful stories. We're just as passionate about changing the impact of the city, but we are only people too. We also have families. We also have things to go back home to, but our work doesn't stop, and we don't want you to feel neglected. We are now expanding. We've been in the areas that have really high gun violence crime rate, where kids are dying. All types of ages are dying. Our goal is to reach out larger into the larger. I live right here, up the block in Highlandtown, right in the Highlands. So I see all the activity you see. So I'm very excited for our growth to the southeast side. So don't stop calling me. We need to get a different email to you, a different phone number to you. But if I do have to step out, but I did want to share that, Mark, because my contacts out here, but trainings, workshops, for the libraries, that's the stuff that I really love to do. We're requested, we see the request for us, we're really tapping on. So our work is not desired. People don't want us to come in and talk about ways to stop the violence in your area. And a lot of time we see folks that are not reaching out for resources. So we're repetitive, we're putting presence there. That way people who are not comfortable or feel safe enough to ask for help, at least know, oh, there's a phone number. I can go to my neighborhood library and get that reference that, or I can go to my kid's school and that school social worker has our contact. So that's what we're in a lot. So I hope that we are able to share just a little bit what we do, because this is just 10 pages. We've got hundreds of stories, the testimonies of our city. So we're really excited. We are here. It's not a thank mark. We are here because we want to make an impact on this side of town.
Absolutely. And the intent is also that, you know, Ashley kind of touched on it briefly. We want to be able to step into as many buildings, places as possible, and actually put MONSE stickers out front so that anybody walking by, they can walk in and say, hey, I need to get connected to MONSE. And again, it's shown to you all. Each of you all have my direct number and my direct email. If you all encounter someone that's been affected by crime or violence, pick up the phone and call me. I'm going to answer the phone every time you call. Send me an email. I'm going to respond to that email. I've shown, right? I'm going to respond to that email and see what I can do as best as I can in collaboration and connection with my team.
And I just wanted to highlight that it's important to know that we work very closely with BPD and the state's attorney's office. And a lot of times, just because you don't see us in the forefront, we're playing backup. So if people are working with the police department, if people are working with the state's attorney's office, we meet with them bi-weekly. And we talk about the things that are going on. We have case management meetings. We talk about who needs what and how we can fill in the blank. So just because MONSE isn't the forefront of everything, it doesn't mean that we're not playing this backup role and filling in gaps where other agencies cannot. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind when we talk about numbers and where we show up and where we didn't show up. We're not always going to be the forefront. Like in some instances, it comes upon a case type, the state's attorney's office will take lead. Homicides and non-fatals, BPD takes lead, right? And then we kind of fill in those gaps and other barriers that they need facing because of whatever it is that victim may need. We're trying to get it back up.
Are they proactively referring victims to MONSE?
Yes.
And you have like metrics around like how often the police and those offices are referring?
We track with our chat.
Okay.
Yes, but right now, BPD is not in Southeast for non-fatals. So you may not see them showing up for the non-fatal shootings in Southeast, but they are in this district for homicides. They're victim services unit.
So we have a question from the chat. I'm just going to read it out here from Bethany online. What are some of the violence prevention strategies that are underway in our community? This will be helpful to know about so we can advocate for it to continue or be improved upon.
Is that meaning here in this community? That they're from this community, correct?
She is a neighbor, yes.
That might be better directed to the officer, just because this does seem to be victim services team. So I guess we can open up.
I will open it up to anybody. So Officer Cabrera, I'm sorry, is here from the Baltimore Police. I'll leave it to you, whoever wants to answer that question.
We were here, my name is Officer Cabrera from the Southeast District. I see a lot of familiar faces. We were here with the commanders, introducing them to you guys. We're currently working on what was stated to us last week. And we are very aware. I bought my crime for the 28 days stats. However, you know, basically it's the same thing that you were having before. Arch, you know, we work in meetings and emails back and forth. This is something that doesn't get, control right away overnight. It's in the works. And, can you, read another question again? I'm sorry.
Sure. So what are some of the violence prevention strategies that are underway in our community?
Like I was saying, basically, connecting more with the communities and the post officer here, to talk individually, like we spoke, last week about meeting the person, actually, the one with the officer, reviewing a lot of stuff, the cameras, as you know, the commanders are very aware. I cannot pull my finger on it, but, I think we made 2 arrests in regards to the larceny from autos. You know, it's we developing ideas on how to, you know, push you guys, this area by the park is very historically it's been affected by, the larceny from auto, even way before, years ago. This is my second time over here physically. Like you guys know, we just took over the unit, so we're very aware of what's going on over here. We're very, active, with the community members, especially, Arch, you know. I'm sure he can tell you more than me, but you know, we are, connecting with you guys in a one-on-one kind of data basis. And learning more what we can do. This is putting out, we're doing the prayers walk right off the corner. We're putting out more flyers and more information, is all over Facebook. And you know, it just me, as of right now for the unit as well. So that's another, challenge that I face.
Okay. I don't know, Larry, if you were trying to say something. It sounded like we heard you before, but I don't know if you were trying to say something or you just inadvertently unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I've been working with the city now for over 2 years to get some ordinances enforced in the Patterson Park. Nothing happens. You know, they say they're gonna do something, they don't do anything. The mayor's never answered any of my emails. I was assaulted. I've lost 40% of my functionality in my right side due to the assault in Patterson Park for basically telling a gentleman to put his dog on a leash because it was running towards me. You know, nothing changes. I have just, honestly, I've gotten fed up because no one wants to do anything. Everybody has an excuse for not doing anything. The police, the mayor's office, park and recs, the dog catchers, they all have excuses, but they don't do anything. And that's all I have to say.
Okay. Any response?
I cannot speak on that because, we have, differences, misunderstanding, and he take it to another level that I can speak on it. But just so you guys know, we are, man, it's several, emails, so based on that, are commonly there. So, there's a lot behind doors, and you guys, you know, I can speak about. I cannot speak on that. I cannot answer that. It's been taken care of for people higher than my rank. So.
Okay. I'm sorry, we have to move this along because this has obviously been something that people are very interested in, but we have to move this along because we have limited time here. But our guests will be here for a little bit after the meeting, I think, if you would like to speak to them individually. So give me a second to try to share screen again and see if I can. Okay, sure.
You guys have, my information is, it's gonna be first name, Ricardo.Cabrera, Bottom Police Battle. So if you have any questions, Arch, you have my number as well. So unfortunately I had to leave and move on from here, but, you know, like I said, I'm here to show my face and speak to you.
All right.
You guys have.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, quickly, my name is Larry Nunley from DPW. All of our agencies, all of our city agencies are working directly with MONSE on the walks, the fair, they call it a fair, but it's basically after there's been a shooting or a raid or whatever is going on in that community, may never hit the papers. But we're putting out flyers to that community and then letting them know that on this particular date, we're not only going to be out touching base with you to see what your needs are, but actually doing cleanups and all that kind of stuff, because what you find is when you have this type of stuff, there are things that people are scared to call about. Trash, they're scared to call about it because that's where these gangsters or wannabe gangsters are standing. And so we go in with MONSE, in fact, doing something tomorrow. And actually, I mean, when I say go in, I mean across the board, DOT, all the agencies are involved. So that we can see what's going on, where the lights are out, all these different things that in reality, everybody just needs. And because of other things, they haven't requested it just because of all the things that are going around them. So I just want everybody to know that that's one of the things that are going on every day that you don't, unless it's in your neighborhood, you may not see it. Okay,
Yeah, because I actually, with regards to the shooting, there were a lot of people affected in the Latino community. And because the Latinos wouldn't come out to talk or wouldn't have conversations with anybody over by the shooting or by the area where MONSE and other services were being provided, they were calling upon me because I was also helping out BPD at that time. They said that there were no lights on that block. So I ended up getting the police department to get one of them, the motorized lights to put, to feel a little bit more safer in your neighborhood.
Sure.
Just the little things to help out. So we're all in the background, there are little things that we are doing to help out with all the different types of events that are happening in the city. You may not see it all the time, but I think all of us, all of our services, all of the mayor's office, MEMA, DPW, MONSE, DOT is part of this as well. You just don't hear us in the name of it.
Record Park,
Yeah,
all of us serve, all walking.
yeah,
You
we
see
clean
a
up
group of people walking,
afterwards.
you're like, okay, what happened? You know, it's already happened, we're following up, so, yeah.
And you don't particularly know it was part of that whole situation. You know, you just think, oh, they're just doing a cleanup, but not, it actually fell out of having the shooting happen. All these different types of services were being provided by all of us.
So
And we
these are
couldn't do it without them
responses.
letting us know.
Yes,
These are responses to violence, not prevention.
right.
That's right.
But it's a prevention because now we're having conversations with these people. We're infiltrating into their lives. Letting them know, like I did, I said, once I knew the particular families that were affected, anything that the mayor's office has put out, I send it out. I know I was only hired for the Latino population because there wasn't any communication. So I was pulling out all the services that they weren't getting, that they were afraid to go out to. So if that happens in this community, I would also do the same thing. I would also go to whoever, if you called me and said, hey, Haiti, you know, this block needs English, Spanish, whatever it is, I would still go out there and put out the services that we provide. And I'll even go into my mayor's office, the Baltimore City Resources, and say, hey, I have this also available. You know, this is what we want to help with.
And we go out together, because we don't want an individual to be out in this real world, an individual just roll up on them and do something that shouldn't be done, because they don't understand what she's doing.
I think it's just basic awareness. I think now that the MONSE is here and we're all here to say, hey, reach out to us. You know that we're here no matter what. If you have a question, even if I can't answer it, I will provide it to someone else who is within my area. I will find out, even if that person doesn't know, I will still have that person look out for whatever the service is needed, whatever you're looking for.
And that's the main reason that when I give you my number, that I ask you to get the confirmation number and then send it back to me, because it gives me an opportunity to reach out to those other agencies. It may not even be us, but you don't know who it is and you're feeling, hey, lost. That's what we're here for. We're a little different. So
I'm very sorry, I really am, but there is still half my agenda to get through, and we're actually literally already over time. So I'm very sorry about that. We really have to move. I want to introduce you all to someone from Councilman Antonio Glover's office. Would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's gonna be real quick and short. My name is Daryl Thorpe. I'm the community director for Councilman Antonio Glover. Just started back in, October. Previously was at a House of Delegates with Jackie Addison and Kaylin Young. So we're definitely pleased to, have a bigger portion of Patterson Park. We had split it with Councilman Cohen as well, but the redistricting after this, I think after the election, we covered more area. So on your desk, I passed around just a District 13 complaint form. Just if you want to see anything from our office, Councilman's real big on feedback. He's real big on just constituent services in general. So I just wanted to show my face and I'll stay towards the direction of the meeting. So appreciate it.
And how do we return these to you? Do you want
I'll
us
be
to fill
sitting
them
right
out
here.
now?
Entire time. You can fill them all now. I'll be sitting here. Is there any questions?
Contact information.
I'm gonna pass it out towards, yeah. That's it.
If you could give your contact information actually to Elena over there, she can type it into the Zoom chat and also make sure that it gets sent out by email. I have a bunch of updates to tell you about. Okay, so first is, I've talked about this before. We have a grant to provide security cameras to several businesses around the neighborhood. So I'm going to go through these really quickly. But so far, we have installed some new cameras at Pie Time. We have gotten money set aside for Rise and Rest Cafe. And I just signed the agreement to put up a system at Patterson Public House. And then we just now approved some funds for the Life Prep Early Learning Daycare Center over there. That's on Kenwood, right, Colin? Okay, yes. I can't read my own little tiny arrow. But and then in addition to that, we also will be we are also in talks with the Library Square Montessori and the Patterson Park Cleaners, actually pretty close to over here. And we will be getting quotes from them. So far, we have allocated about $23,000 of a $45,000 grant. Now that's before the last two, Library Square Montessori and Patterson Park Cleaners. We'll see what's left after that. But I would say that if you know of a business which would like some free security cameras, please let us know. Now, as to that, there's more to safety than just putting up security cameras, and there's more to safety than crime prevention, although that is also very important. He didn't know I was going to do this, but I'm actually going to invite Arch to tell us a little bit about the next tranche of grant funding that could become available to us. I'm told it could be in the next couple of weeks.
It's imminent, yes. So yeah, thanks, Ernest. So a couple things. First, it's not all about cameras, but this map is a little over a year old, but I geocoded all of the locations of folks who were they fill out a form and like, hey, here's my little Ring camera, or here's my big, camera array on my house or whatever, and like working for NSA. So like anything in between. So these are not like mostly commercial. These are just like, hey, I've got a camera, and if something bad happens or whatever, or even if there's like this camera network has helped you guys. If you're on Facebook, you've seen, hey, there's a lot, my dog's gone, or my child is missing, or whatever. Like literally, I just look on this and I go to it and I plug in. I'm like, hey, Michelle, can you check your cameras for 5:40 p.m. whatever? Oh yeah, this dog? Yeah. Wow, look, there's a dog or whatever. So this has helped a lot. So the idea of the camera grant is to get more robust cameras at like certain egress, ingress, like just locations, and kind of give that to the businesses, right? And then you get like a really clear image of the car or of the whoever you're looking for from that crime or incident or car crash, for instance. That's why most of these are at intersections. So that's a big thing that this grant, which is, that's not there to say, good. Department of Housing and Community Development put this grant out. And this is phase 3 of a 3-phase grant that is opening up imminently in a couple weeks. What the difference is this year is, so in the past, it was like, oh yeah, you need cameras, we'll give you money for cameras. Now they've kind of opened it up, and it's like 3 kind of buckets. So the first is, and off the top of my head, I don't know exactly what they're titled, but if you think of it like this, it's safety stuff. So like cameras, lighting, like those are 2 like really obvious areas where people can get a benefit and ask for money in the form of a project. The next would be like placemaking. And so that would be like, there's a vacant lot and there's a wall and we can put a mural on it, and you could do a garden, you could do native plants, or you could, spruce up an area to make it inviting, and ergo inviting is safer, and it's just increased traffic of people like engaging and building that community fabric, right? Because that's like a key part of crime prevention, and just like a healthy neighborhood. Healthy neighborhoods thrive, right? There's check all the boxes. So that's a big piece of it. What was the third? The third bucket was
I don't remember.
boom, like traffic calming.
Sure.
Traffic calming.
Right.
So people go, like, they think it's like the Indianapolis 500 out here on Fayette, sort of, definitely on Orlean Street. Around the park, people go way too fast. We can all agree that. People generally, often it's 50-50, they're gonna stop you in that crosswalk, right? You take your life and your pet's life and your children's lives. And we've had people, I can think of like a handful of people that I know of who've been struck at crosswalks, like walking across, and the car really just takes them out. So, and broken limbs. Luckily, I don't know if anybody's been killed, but I know broken limbs. That's horrible, right? So you should stop for a crosswalk. Police should give tickets for people who run through crosswalks. It's like a $250 or $500 fine, and like 2 points in their license. So that should happen. That's a whole other story. So traffic calming would be like bump outs at intersections. And so not to get too far into it, but one thing that is effective, so DOT will do like the sticks, right? Like we have at Linwood and Baltimore Street. What you can do to further enhance that, which has been shown to make it safer, but also more aesthetically pleasing, is to have paint down. And paint, the downside of paint is you got upkeep, so there is like some upkeep every couple of years.
I'm actually about to talk about what we're doing with that, so.
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome. So the next level for a bump out is like what Butcher's Hill has done, where they actually get like curb cuts, and then they put native plants in. And that's like a big engineering feat, and it's like a lot of red tape. I'll just warn you, like you kind of go down a rabbit hole of that, but the end result looks great. And we have a kind of a bump out here at Luzerne and Fairmount. Like all that stuff.
That's one of the
slows
ones that's
traffic
getting
down.
decorated, yeah.
And it's good for the environment. It slows stormwater, all that. So those are things. So you can get back to me. You can think about like, hey, my block would be safer if we could have like mirrors at the blind intersections on alleys. That's something inexpensive but effective, and it can be, if they're unbreakable, sort of, they will last a long time. So think about like ways, man, if we could slow cars down, if we could, there's a lot of crashes here, and people are always asking for camera footage from who did it, who ran the light. If we could have a camera on this building looking out there. So like that's the kind of stuff that we need to see. The window will be open, according to DHCD, it's like an 8-week window. But what you have to do, and the reason why it's like ready, set, go, is you have to think of a project, and then you have to like figure out what it costs, right? Because the ask has to be specific. So, yeah.
You have the cost of what it costs to put the bollards and the painting outside of Patterson Public House.
Yeah, so the bollards, I wasn't on that transportation committee, but the bollards are covered by DOT. And so if you like say like, hey, we want this to happen, DOT usually will do that. And so they will give you like the Hyundai, and like here's the keys to the Hyundai. But if you want like the fancier, Honda Accord, then you put the paint down, and you gotta pay for that.
It also depends on like what kind of paint you're using, like,
Right.
If you're going like super high quality, your upkeep is gonna be less from year to year, but it's gonna cost more upfront.
And
I just need the bollards.
yeah, and also Right, and also, I'm about to tell you about some improvements we're already doing, and the people we are working with probably can also quote us. You know, if we tell them like we want it here, take a look at that, what would that be? You know, we're applying for a grant. We can probably do that. Now, yes, so, I was originally going to have us do a brainstorming session, but we don't have time for it. Sorry, but I'm gonna tell you this. If you're here in the room, you can send an email to info@pattersonparkneighbors.org. That goes to everybody who was on the board, and I have just noticed that Ms. Cheryl actually joined us online, so the entire board is here. Like, yes, by all means, go ahead, come up to me, tell me I want something on my intersection and everything, but do me a favor, also send an email, because that way we have it remembered. Now, if you are online, if you're on the Zoom, go ahead and type your ideas into the chat, because that is being recorded, and the transcripts of the chat will be kept for us later. So if there is anything you want that is, you know, within what Arch has described, please go ahead and tell us. There is a lot of money available. We'll see how much of it we can get, but you know, this stuff makes a real difference.
So the ask, by the way, the ask could be up to $300,000.
Yeah,
Not that you'd necessarily get that. You could.
but I wouldn't say no if we did get it.
Yeah.
All right, so, okay, so that's for safety. Now, wanted to give you a quick update on the community dumpsters. So we had one this past February that was very successful. It filled up within 2 hours. So if you want to get rid of something and you see a date for one of these dumpsters coming up, make sure you arrive early, because they fill up. Now, and for those of you who are furiously writing down things, don't worry, we're gonna put this all out in an email that's gonna go out to all of you as well. So those are the community dumpsters. Okay, and now we also are organizing a candidates forum for the first district. Now, this information is up here. Again, it's all gonna get sent out to you. Please don't worry about trying to write all of it down. We're gonna email all of this out. Now, some people have asked me, okay, do we have a candidates forum for the 13th district? And the answer is that these things are put together by coalitions of neighborhoods. So this one right here in the first district is put together by us, PPNA, also Canton Neighbors, Brewers Hill, Highland Town, Greektown, Fells Point, and I'm forgetting one, and they're gonna yell at me if they realize that Bayview. And you know, to put one of these things together is really not something that one neighborhood organization can do all by itself. So I have reached out to neighbors in the 13th district, you know, our new co-district neighborhoods, and we'll see if we can put something together there. But just so you know, April 18th, which is a Thursday, there will be a candidates forum for the first district. All 3 filed candidates have told us they promise to be there. It will also be broadcast on YouTube. Okay. Moving right along. Oh yeah, that was my little like, okay, it's over there. So, all right. So as Arch was saying, when you do traffic calming, you also want to make things brighter and more visible. So I wanted to let you know that we have installation dates. So at Baltimore and Linwood, this is, let's see here. So in the lower right corner, there is the actual park. And so I believe that would mean that in the upper right there is Patterson Public House, just to get you oriented. So that is supposed to be installed on April 8th through 12th. And then there will be a community paint day on April 13, where you can also participate in painting these, or kids can do that as well. So very, very much looking forward to that. And then on Fayette and Luzerne, installation April 29th through May 3rd. Community Paint Day will be May 4th. Same thing. We also have a third intersection, which is Baltimore and Lakewood. We do not have an installation date for that. This is, by the way, a simpler installation, because we're actually trying to save money on the grant, because we want to do other things with it. But as a result of this, you will notice on this one that all of the paint is on the actual road, which means, unfortunately, that the community cannot participate in this paint project. But for the other two, you know, look forward to that. I think it's going to be a great time. Okay, what else do I have here? Oh, yes, so, you remember when we used to show movies on Library Square? I'm bringing that back. Unfortunately, I don't have plans yet. Basically, I did this so that I would be like, okay, now I've actually gone and said it and I've gone and promised it. And now you guys are gonna yell at me if I don't do it. So all I am saying right now is we're bringing back movies on Library Square. If anybody wants to help, let me know.
I'll help. No, I'm the expert on the library square.
Okay, yeah.
How frequently are you looking to do it?
Miss Cheryl, how frequently do we do it? We start at some date and we do it like every week until the summer, right?
We can do as many of them as you want. We used to do it around events like the closing of school, the opening of school. So we would do it in the summertime because you can't do it till it starts getting dark around 9 o'clock.
Right. But anyway, so this is, I told you, PPNA has big plans and big things going on this year, and this is gonna be one of them. And we're bringing it back, but so far, all I've done is said, I'm gonna do it, and now I'm gonna figure out how to do it. But that's my commitment to you.
I got you, Ernest.
All right.
Ernest, I
So-
got you. I got your back.
And okay, well, that is the end of my bit, and we have just it's
Right
almost
under the
8 o'clock. They will kick us out soon, but I'm gonna give us a couple of minutes if anybody has any more community announcements.
I have something to say.
Okay,
I wanted to remind everybody about the LCCR for the lead and copper. If anybody has uploaded your information to the website, it is a must. It's not something that nobody can just say, oh, I'm not gonna do it. Everybody has to participate in it. Yeah, so it's the lead and copper rule that the EPA has put out for all states. So you have to upload the picture of your pipe. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's a PVC, it's fine. You have to upload it onto the website. That way the EPA, the federal government, can cross you off of their list.
Who's done it?
You done it?
Done it.
I'm so proud of you.
There we go.
I'm so proud of you guys. This is just a reminder, please. It's regarding our water. So the more people that and do it and inform the government, the more that they will let us alone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Let us alone.
They let us alone.
And
All right.
as of March 5th, recycling is back every week. Anywhere I went, they cleared it. So just wanted you to know that whatever your date is, it'll be every week, the week after that, okay? So,
all right.
All right.
And I just saw library staff looking at us, so I am going to end this meeting. Thank you all for coming out. It's been a great discussion, and we will see you next time.
Nice to meet you. Yes, it is. Did you get my information?
Did you give it to Elena?
I believe she took a picture, but I wanted to,
I mean, I got your emails and it has your.
yeah,
phone
because the
number,
mayor's
everything,
office of, Mayor's Office of Children and Family Success may be able to, come out, maybe I can talk to them maybe once a month
Uh-huh,
to actually host some of those movies for you.
okay,
So send me an email, let's touch base.
all right,
Maybe someday this week, and I'll get you connected with them and see if they can help.
absolutely.
How you doing?